You've now hit the part of the registration guide where we can talk about an extremely important tool, which is your major template. Now, for the purposes of this video, we will be using an old materials engineering template, and we will dig much more into your specific major template in a later video in the guide. However, this is going to give you a general sense of how you can use this tool and basically our favorite tips and tricks. So, first and foremost, make sure you save the major template for your major from your registration guide. Put it somewhere on your computer that you'll remember it because you'll want to reference it later. Whether you use Adobe or Paint to take notes digitally or plan to print it out and take notes with a pen and paper, it's 100% a reference material that you will continue using through your 4 years. As for what it is, the bulk of this page is going to be a 4-year curriculum map for all the requirements in your respective major. These are created and updated each year by every department. As such, it's really important that you always make sure you are using your cohort, the class of 2024, template. If I use an old template like the class of 2023, I run the risk of having the wrong degree requirements. Things can change year to year, and they often do, so make sure you use the 2024 template. Now, over the 4 years, this is the general layout of what the department expects and their general recommendation for when to take different classes. That being said, almost no student at RPI follows this 100% to the letter by the end of their 4 years. Along the way, your advisor can help you figure out little tweaks you can make. These can include things like moving a 1-credit class from one semester to another, switching around some electives, or potentially just swapping the order of certain classes when that's an option. As you start to plan for your fall semester, obviously starting with the fall semester on your 4-year template is a great place to start. However, there are likely going to be classes in later semesters that you can consider as options. Again, your more major-specific video will get into this. One other thing we wanted to bring up when you're talking about moving classes around is the idea of prerequisites. This is something that will be relevant through your whole 4 years. A prerequisite is a class that has to be taken to go on to the next class in a specific sequence. Some are very obvious. So, for example, Calculus 1 is a prerequisite for Calculus 2, and Physics 1 is a prerequisite for Physics 2. Some will be a little less obvious. So, for example, on this template, Chemistry 1 is a prerequisite for Materials Science. We have linked the RPI catalog in the registration guide, and if you ever want to look up the prerequisite for any class, check out the catalog. The information will be in there. So, on the template, the main thing you'll look at is this 4-year plan, but don't ignore the bottom. So, most majors have certain elective categories you'll have to fulfill along the way. For materials science, we got our examples here with restricted electives and materials electives. So if you ever look at that and wonder what your options are, most of the time they'll just be written on the template, whether as a specific list of courses or a short blurb telling you different departments and levels of courses that could be an option. You'll also definitely want to check the footnotes. While you might have ignored them in your high school textbooks, they're very important here. Footnotes can tell you if courses are offered only in specific semesters, if a substitute course might be an option at different points, and more. So basically, make sure you read your major template over thoroughly and know that while it's an excellent tool and probably one of the most important advising tools we'll be using over the next 4 years, it is not by any means a prescription, and we can definitely customize it to you.